There's a story that doesn't seem to be news, but just won't stop. I'm talking about the leaked US documents. If you haven't been paying attention, this is what you need to know. A leak of sensitive Pentagon papers, recent intelligence updates, and briefings for the Joint Chiefs of Staff has been uploaded a few weeks ago on Discord, a social media platform, and these documents finally gained traction on other social media platforms in early April. The New York Times examined the documents and broke the story, and the information is described as causing a lot of trouble for the US government. Not only what is in the papers, but how new the information is part of the problem. If the information is authentic, it shows that it's not too hard to get sensitive information out of high security facilities really quickly. While the broad reporting focuses on the fact that the US is spying not only on its enemies, but also on its friends, this isn't really news. And while this is going to cause embarrassment for US officials on trips like the one planned soon to Korea, when they need to face questions from reporters, this is actually business as usual. The New York Times reports on evidence that the US has kept tabs secretly on Israel and even Ukraine. And South Korean opposition lawmakers called the premeditated spying a violation of national sovereignty. The information might not be new, but this leak is different than the ones that have caused trouble for Washington in the recent past. The leaker didn't use teams of reporters to get the word out like Edward Snowden did when he shared the classified documents he stole from the National Security Agency, or WikiLeaks when it tried to get the word out about thousands of classified documents it got from a disgruntled U.S. Army intelligence specialist in Iraq. It also doesn't look like the work of a foreign enemy, like Russian agents who U.S. officials concluded hacked the Democratic National Committee's email server in 2016 to help Donald Trump's presidential campaign. The Washington Post reports that the person who may have leaked the papers works or worked at a military base, according to a member of the online group that got the first look at the hundreds of documents on Discord. Discord's chat rooms are faster moving and more private than other social media channels, and many use an invite system to control who can get in. Few people use their real names, and the servers are expected largely to police themselves. The interesting thing is that the alleged poster was first taking on like a pedagogical or teaching tone and retyping and making notes on intelligence information, explaining terminology and abbreviations and acronyms, but then got pretty agitated when his efforts weren't being appreciated. It seemed like eventually he just began dumping pictures of documents into the Discord group. And the Washington Post wrote that there was like a huffy statement about people not appreciating his efforts and watching YouTubers instead. What you should be watching for, with the amount of information now being examined, different news agencies are opting either to look at the issue as the whole of a security breach in general. There are lots of stories about how social media is changing intelligence, but there's also reporting that cherry picks for their regional target audiences, and there seems to be something for everyone here. Claims that Egypt wanted to sell rockets to Russia. Is China going to support Russia? How many Ukrainian casualties are there really? Does NATO have soldiers in Ukraine? The documents say there's over 100. While no one is confirming the information, a lot of countries that are mentioned are denying the validity of the information. Next week, U.S. officials are likely to face some questions when they travel to Germany for the next Ukraine contact group meeting. This is also known as the Ramstein Group. This group is made up of more than 50 nations who get together to coordinate weapons and aid supports for Ukraine. People close to the issue, the Associated Press reported, say that the document leak is not expected to affect that meeting or their allies, the U.S. allies' witness to continue to provide military assistance to Ukraine. One expert even said that they think a lot of the allies will probably be more curious about why it happened, not what was in the leak, probably so they can avoid the same situation. Given the high-level security clearance needed to access the information in the first place, the leak does raise questions as to who would want that or have an agenda to put all that out there. So was the leak to undermine support for Ukraine, to hurt U.S. relations with Egypt, worsen them with China, or just because a gamer felt underappreciated? I'm Dr. K, a political scientist who used to live and work in Ukraine. I look at how information about politics is shared. If you feel better informed, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm over on TikTok too. The only difference there is the aspect ratio.